All right, so good evening. The thing is, we started looking at network security infrastructure. You know, we looked at network topologies, okay? We looked at that. We looked at this physical and logical topologies, okay? Networks of many sizes, LANs and WANs, we did this, okay? The network design model, which you must have at your organization. We looked at this, okay? And then common security architectures that you can use in your organization. We did this as well. Okay, so this is where we ended. Security devices. Okay, so you see, this starts with the video. So, you know, you can play this video and learn more on security services. Okay, so the first security device we're looking at are, you know, firewalls. Okay, so a firewall, it is just a system or a group of systems that do enforce access control policy between networks. Okay, so they got the word firewall from, you know, what they used to do a long time ago. They would build a wall which would prevent fire from moving, you know, from one room to the other room. Okay, so you see, this is the organization, and then this is the internet. So the firewall is there to filter the traffic which is getting into your organization. Okay, so it is either going to allow traffic into your organization or deny that traffic. Okay, so the firewall has these common properties. Okay, it is resistant to network attacks. Okay, the only transit point between internal corporate networks and external networks, because all traffic flows through the firewall. Okay, it enforces the access control policy. So what traffic has to enter into your organization, you know, what traffic that has to be denied from entering your organization. So we have the benefits of the firewall and limitations of the firewall. You know, so one of the benefits is that it prevents the exposure of sensitive hosts, resources, and applications to untrusted users. So the untrusted users won't see the devices that we have within our organization. Okay, sanitizes protocol flow, which prevents exploitation of protocol flows. So the thing is, in networking, we use the protocols. So what we are using is what also the hackers do use. Okay, blocks malicious data from servers and clients, reduces security management complexity. So the thing is, you see, since the firewall is going to block malicious traffic, all right, security management won't be all that complex because the firewall will do some of the security which is needed. Okay. Now, what are some of the limitations? So the first one is that a misconfigured firewall can have serious consequences for the network. You see, if in your organization, you only have a single firewall, once you have, that firewall, once it has failed, it means that your organization won't have access to the internet. So a single firewall creates what is known as a single point of failure. It is very, very important that you have two firewalls. We call that redundancy. Okay? And also have, let's say, two internet service providers. Very, very important. So that when one internet service provider, goes down, then you have the backup. Very, very important. Okay. The data from many applications cannot be passed over the firewall securely. This is the issue. Users might proactively search for ways around the firewall to receive blocked material, which exposes the internet to potential attack. So here you find that out there are so many tools which are used for making, packets which can be crafted in such a way as when they are sent to the firewall, those packets will make the firewall, to reveal certain information to the hackers. Okay. Network performance can slow down. So the firewall, sometimes you find that it slows down the network performance. Unauthorized traffic can be tunneled or hidden as legitimate traffic through the firewall. Okay. Now, very, very important that you use what are known as the next generation firewalls. Okay. These are firewalls which are able to even identify the user. They are able also to identify the applications that are being used. Okay. So we have different types of firewalls. The first one is called packet filtering firewall. So this is the first generation of firewall. Now, this works at layer 3, which is the network layer, and it also works at layer 4. That is, it is filtering the information based on the network layer, that is based on the source and destination IP address. So it also filters the information based on the transport layer, meaning it filters the information based on the source and destination port numbers. Okay. So you can see also based on the protocol. Okay. So this one is called stateless, meaning that when traffic passes through these types of firewalls, that traffic is not recorded in what is known as the session table. Okay. So this is stateless. And then we have stateful firewalls. So you can see here, they work at layer 3. Okay, layer 3 is called network layer. They also work at, they filter information based on layer 4. Have you seen also the 5th layer, which is session layer? So these firewalls, when traffic goes through them, that traffic is recorded in a session table. all right? So the traffic goes to the internet. When that traffic is coming back from the internet, you know, it will be checked whether its information is in the session table. If the information is not in the session table, that traffic won't be allowed, okay? So these are, you know, third generation firewalls, and up to now, this is still being used. So here, the firewall, you know, takes charge of the connection that is happening by recording the information in the session table, okay? Then we have the proxy firewalls. These are also called application gateway firewalls. So you can see, since they are application firewalls, you can see that also they filter the information based on the application. So they cover, you know, they filter the information based on layer 3, layer 4, layer 5, and layer 7, which is the application layer, okay? All right, so that is that on this. So you can see that most of the firewall control and filter is done in the software, okay? So what you see here, these are Cisco's next generation firewalls. Now, these are not only firewalls, but they also have the intrusion detection system inside them. An intrusion detection system is a system which is able to detect malicious traffic and block it. You see, they are also application aware, and they are able to see and what? Block risk applications in your organization. Very, very important. So these are some of the new technologies that are there. So the next generation firewall is able to identify the applications, you know. So it is also able to identify risk applications. Upgrade parts to include future information feeds, okay? Techniques to address evolving security threats, you know. So this is what we need in this world where every day we have new attack methods being developed, new techniques, you know. We need these firewalls. Okay, so other types of firewalls that are there are host-based firewall. So like the firewall that you have on your laptop, you know, which comes with Windows, is called host-based firewall, you know. So your laptop has a firewall. Then we have transparent firewalls, which filters IP traffic between a pair of bridged interfaces. We can also have the hybrid firewall. This is a combination of different types of firewalls. Okay, so that is the first device that you must have in your organization to protect your organization from cyber attacks. Okay, all right. The other device that you must have in your organization is intrusion detection system. You can also have the intrusion prevention system and also intrusion detection systems. So these are two different systems. The intrusion prevention system is able to detect malicious traffic and block it. The intrusion detection system is only there to detect malicious traffic. Okay? Now, you can have both in your organization. That is, sometimes you can be checking whether really the intrusion prevention system is working. So if the intrusion detection system is able to detect malicious traffic while the intrusion detection system does nothing, then that already indicates that you didn't tune or you didn't set the intrusion prevention system properly. Or the intrusion prevention system can be connected to the firewall such that when this intrusion detection system detects malicious traffic, it sends the firewall to block the traffic. Okay. Okay. All right, so you can see here that a networking architecture paradigm shift is required to defend against fast-moving. So we have fast-moving and evolving attacks each day. So you can have these included in your organizations as one of the measures to protect your organization. So you can see that both the IDS and the IPS, they do have something in common. Both are technologies which are deployed as sensors. They work as sensors. Both technologies use signatures to detect patterns of misuse in network traffic. So you find that they have a database of signatures related to malicious traffic. Okay. Both can detect atomic patterns, that is single packets, and also they can be able to detect composite patterns, which means multiple packets. Okay. So you see, this is the network of the organization. This is the internet. So this is where you put the IPS. And when we put the IPS like this, we call this inline. So the IPS is implemented inline. Okay? The IDS is normally implemented offline. So we can have a switch here, and to this switch, we can connect the IDS. So what the switch will be doing will be sending copies of traffic to the IDS. So you see, the IDS works only with copies of traffic. We call that offline. You see, you can see the IPS, traffic passes through it, real traffic. So if it is malicious, it is able to block that traffic. Okay. All right, so here we can see we have advantages and disadvantages. Yes?
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to find out, you mentioned that, is it the IDS?
Yes.
Or is it the IPS? Which one? Which one works offline?
Okay, the one which works offline is IDS.
Or the IDS, which means if you're not connected to the internet?
No. We have two terms that we use when you are connecting an IPS and IDS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you see, this is an IPS here, right? This is the actual traffic coming from the internet. The actual traffic, when it is passing through the IPS, it means that the IPS has been connected inline. We use the term inline. Okay? Now, sometimes, we can have a switch. Let's assume we have a switch here. So what the switch does, that is, to this switch, we can connect the IDS here. So what the switch will be doing will be mirroring, that is, sending copies of traffic to the IDS. So the IDS is not dealing with the real traffic, but copies of traffic. We call type of connection offline.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. Now,
I understand now.
Now, you see, the IDS, it does deeper packet inspection, looking for malicious traffic. Okay? So, you know, those copies of traffic, if they are malicious, you find that the same IDS can be connected to a firewall. So when it detects malicious traffic, it sends information to the firewall to block that traffic. Or we can try to check whether the IPS is really working or not. That is, we can have the IPS and the IDS. Okay. So if the IDS is able to detect malicious traffic, while the IPS is not able to detect malicious traffic, from there we can conclude saying that the IPS is not working properly. Okay. All right. I hope I'm clear now.
No, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of IDS and IPS? Okay. So you can see the IDS, since it is implemented offline, it has no impact on the network. You know, we talk of latency and jitter. Latency and jitter, this is the time that the packet will spend in the device. You know, we call it delay. You know, so the packet, you know, will have to spend some time in a device. That time we call it latency or jitter. So you see, the IDS is implemented offline, therefore it has got no impact on the network. No impact on the network if it fails, because it is offline. It's not connected directly to, you know, I mean, actual traffic doesn't pass through it. No impact on the network if, you know, it is overloaded. Okay. What are some of the disadvantages with the IDS? Okay. Response action cannot stop, you know, trigger packets. So you see, the IDS, once it detects malicious traffic, it doesn't stop it there and then. That is the disadvantage. Okay. Correct tuning required for response actions. So here, you must have the skills of how to correctly tune the IDS so that it can be able to detect malicious traffic. Or, you know, it won't be giving you false positives or false negatives. Meaning, you know, you have received an alert that there is malicious traffic, but while doing, you know, after you have looked at it, you find that there is nothing. Okay. More vulnerable to network security evasion techniques because it is implemented offline. The IPS advantages, it stops the trigger packets. That is, the IPS, since the traffic which is coming from the internet passes through it, if it is malicious, the IPS will stop that traffic. Okay. Can use stream normalization techniques. Okay. So the IPS can be able to work with other IPS. All right. So what are some of the disadvantages? Sensor issues might affect network traffic because actual traffic passes through it. When it is down, that may have an impact on the network traffic. Again, since the actual traffic passes through it, when it is overloaded, that can also have an impact on the network. Now, here it also has some impact on the network, that is latency and jitter. So the traffic has to pass through the IPS, it has to be processed. That is time, that is delaying the traffic before the traffic is released, okay? So that's how it is here, okay? What are types of IPSs that we have there? Host-based IPS. So you see, when we install the IPS on your laptop, we call that host-based IPS. So these can be installed on computers in your organization, on each and every computer. We also have network-based IPS, for example, this one here. This is called a network-based IPS. But when we install the IPS on these end devices, we call that host-based. Okay. Now, so you can see here that the host-based IPS is software installed on a host. This is very, very important to monitor and analyze suspicious activities. So what are some of the advantages of host-based IPS? They protect, they have to protect a specific host operating system, okay? They provide operating system and application level protection on the host, okay? Protect the host after the message is decrypted. So here is the thing. Hackers know that to hide is to thrive. So what they do is they normally encrypt malicious traffic. Now you can be able to pass that malicious traffic, which is encrypted, can be able to pass through the defenses that you have set up. But when it reaches a host, it will be decrypted by the IPS. What are some of the disadvantages of host-based IPS? They are operating system dependent. So meaning we have the host-based IPS, which works only on Windows. And we also have host-based IPS, which works only on Apple machines. Then we have those which works only on Linux machine. That is one of the disadvantages. The other one is that these must be installed on all the hosts. Now imagine you have 1,000 computers in your organization. And you're going to have a lot of work installing them on each and every host. Okay. All right, so, this can be the network of your organization. We're talking about network-based IPS, okay? So this is how you put them. So, you can put them here on the network, okay? And then also there, all right? So these can be able to detect malicious traffic. So these are network-based. All right, but you find that host-based can also work hand in hand with network-based IPS. So, you must have the firewalls in your organization. You must have intrusion prevention systems as well as intrusion detection systems. You can't rely only on one technique. That's how it is in security. Apart from that, Cisco has specialized security appliances. They have Cisco Advanced Malware Protection. Malware, this is malicious software. Here we have viruses, we have the worms, We have Trojan horses, okay? We have adware, spyware, and others. So an AMP is an advanced malware analysis and protection solution. So this can protect your organization from viruses, worms, okay, Trojan horses, and others. So an AMP is capable of protecting your organization before an attack happens, during an attack, and of course, after an attack. So how the AMP works is like this. Once it analyzes a file, it will release that file, but it will keep an eye on that file. Once the file starts misbehaving, then, of course, it will be removed. That's how this works. Cisco also has the Cisco Web Security Appliance. So this is going to protect your organization, from web attacks, okay? Securing and controlling of web traffic, So this application is able to automatically block risky sites, okay? So the people that the workers that you have in your organization will be protected from visiting risky sites, okay? Now, for the teleworkers or mobile workers, Cisco, they have what is known as the Cisco Cloud Security Appliance for those workers, mobile workers. So the Security Cloud Security Appliance, it is able to protect those who are on the move. They also have the Cisco Email Security Appliance. You guys, know that, email is very, very important in your organization. You are receiving emails every day. So how do you protect your organization? You can use the Cisco Email Security Appliance. So this will be able to mitigate email-based threats, okay? Very, very important. All right. So you can see that this email security appliance is connected to the global threat intelligence. This global threat intelligence, these guys, they work 24/7, okay? And if they are able to detect malicious emails, then they'll feed this security appliance with latest information, which is very, very important. So the ESA is able to block the spams. Spams, these are unwanted emails, but they can be malicious as well, okay? So it also works with the advanced malware protection, okay, to block malware on emails, outbound message control. If we have individuals in your organization who wants to steal data through an email, they won't do that, okay? Immediately, someone is about to send sensitive information, that will be detected, okay? Security services. So of course we have the video here where you can learn more on different security services. So apart from that, you can also be able to configure what are known as access control lists. on routers, okay? So you can configure an ACL on router 1, making sure that this PC, will be denied the video or will be denied accessing this other PC, okay? So we can use ACLs, to limit access to certain services, okay? All right. We have two types of ACLs. We have standard ACLs. So ACLs, of course, these are just permit or deny statements. So the standard ACL can permit or deny traffic only based on the source IP address. And then the extended ACL can filter traffic based on a number of parameters: the protocol type, source address, destination address, source ports and destination ports, and also on the protocol type. Now, we can either have numbered or named ACLs. So what I'm saying is that these, when creating ACLs, you can either use numbers. So numbers from 1 up to 99, you assign those numbers when you are creating standard ACLs. And then for extended ACLs, numbers from, that is 100 up to 199, use those numbers when creating extended ACLs. But apart from using numbers, if you want, you can't use numbers. You can use the name. And this is very, very important, because once you use the name, then you'll be able to know what that ACL does. So if you see here, okay, so this PC3, you can create an ACL on this route, denying web services, denying FTP services, denying any updates, okay? That's how it is. So an ACL, it is a list of permit or deny statements, okay? All right. Now, if your network is very, very big, how do you manage it? This is where you use the simple network management protocol, okay? So this protocol has the manager and what? Agents. So once you configure simple network management protocol on these devices, whatever is happening to them, they'll be sending that information to the manager. So if this is going to go down, you are going to receive a message and you're able to know that such and such a device is down, okay? So the manager uses the get method to get information from these, the get and set. And then these agents are able to send whatever is happening to them through what is known as a trap. Okay. All right. NetFlow. So NetFlow is a Cisco technology which provides statistics on packets, that are flowing through a Cisco router or a switch. We use it for network and security monitoring, for the sake of network planning, traffic analysis, okay, as well as for billing purposes. Okay, that's how we use the NetFlow. Okay, port mirroring. Remember what I said. So on this switch, you can configure port mirroring. What port mirroring does is to copy traffic and send copies of traffic to the packet analyzer. So in place of the packet analyzer here, we can have what? An IDS, okay? So that is what we call port mirroring. Okay, so another protocol that you can use to know what is happening in your network is syslog. Okay, so these devices, once you configure syslog on them, they'll be sending whatever is happening to them to the syslog server. And you, as an analyst, you can log into that server and see what is happening in your network. Okay. The other thing to make sure as an analyst, cybersecurity analyst, is to make sure that all the devices in your network are running or they are running on the same time and date. And for you to do that, you must use network time protocol. So this network time protocol, you can see here, it has layers which are called stratum. So stratum 0, this is the source of the correct time. Okay. So this correct time will be sent to the server. And once you have configured NTP, it means that all the devices in your organization are going to have the same time. Why is that important? Because when your organization is hacked, you can be able to know what happened when. So NTP is also a target for hackers. They will try to confuse time in your organization so that you won't be able to correlate the events. Okay. AAA servers. So AAA this is authentication, authorization, and accounting. This is very, very important in your organization. So once you have implemented AAA, if there's something which has gone wrong in your organization, then you can go to the AAA servers and find out who did what and when. Okay. So authentication deals with authenticating the user. So with authentication, we use different factors here. We can use a password. Okay. We can use, if we want, biometric. Others, they use location. So it's about the factors like, the password is something that you know. The PIN is something that you know. Now, what we're using is mount factor authentication. That is very, very important. Okay. So what I've implemented, of course, when I'm logging in to NetAcad is a mount factor authentication. First, I key in a password. Then I have to key in the code which is generated on my phone. Okay, so that is mount factor authentication. Very, very important to implement that in your organization. Okay, so you can have the PIN, the password, biometric, and so on. Biometric is something you are. The other factor that we have is somewhere you are. Someone can be authenticated based on the location. That is if somebody goes outside Lusaka, he can't log in. We're using location. Okay. Now we have authorization. That is after somebody has been authenticated, he has to be authorized. That is what he is allowed to do on a system. Okay. Accounting. This deals with following up what someone has been doing. Okay. So here I am with a bank card. So this is something I have in terms of authentication. So when I go to the ATM, when I enter this into the machine, Then I've got something that I know, which is a PIN. Okay? In terms of authorization, if I've got no money, then I won't be given anything. If I've got 2,000, then I won't be able to withdraw more than 2,000. That is authorization. And then accounting, of course, will come in form of that receipt that you are going to have. There's going to be the time there. There's going to be the location of the ATM. There's going to be the amount you have withdrawn, and so on. Okay, so that is what AAA servers do. Now, on these AAA servers, we can use two types of technologies. We can either use TACAS Plus or Radius. So with TACAS Plus, in terms of functionality, it separates AAA. Radius combines authentication and authorization. TACAS Plus is Cisco's. Radius is an international standard. TACAS Plus uses TCP protocol. Radius uses UDP. Okay. TACAS Plus, you can see, uses CHAP. Okay. As a protocol for authentication. And then Radius, you can see, this is bi-directional. It's a two-way. And then Radius, unidirectional, is a one-way challenge. TACAS Plus encrypt the entire packet. Radius only encrypts the password, which is not good at all. Customization, TACAS Plus provides authorization of router commands on per user or per group basis. While this has got no option. In terms of accounting, TACAS Plus is limited, while Radius is extensive. Okay. So you see, we're looking at security services that are there. AAA is one of them. And then VPN, this is virtual private network. How do we use VPNs? All right, so you see, we have the headquarters here. So we can connect the branches, the mobile user, and someone who's working at home through the internet. That is, on this internet, we create the tunnels. That is what VPN does. You know, the internet, of course, is not secure. But once we do create those tunnels, then the communication is going to be secured. Okay. So with VPN, we have two types: site-to-site VPN. That is a situation where we can have the router here, okay, or the firewall here, and then at this end also we have the firewall or the router. We call that site-to-site VPN. And then we also have remote access VPN. With remote access VPN, on this end, you can have the router or the firewall, and then on the other end, we have the laptop or the mobile phone or the PC. We call that remote access VPN. All right, so do we have questions here?
Yes, Mr. Teo, I have.
Yes, madam.
I wanted to ask you on the VPN.
Yes.
Like for me, I have a VPN on my laptop.
Yes.
I'm able to access one of the servers at work.
Good.
Now, I wanted to find out, like for me, as an auditor, to check the security of the VPN, I need to ask about the tunnel. You were talking about the tunnel.
Yeah. Now, that software that you have,
yes,
okay, works in collaboration with the firewall or the router at your headquarters.
Okay.
So when communicating, when communicating, they have to exchange information and they create this same tunnel.
Okay.
Channel, which is secured through authentication.
Okay.
Okay. So once that tunnel is created, that is when laptop will be able to communicate securely with the headquarters, router or firewall.
Okay.
That's how it works, madam. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So of course you must have internet. Okay, that's how it is done. All right. Okay, so from there we are moving on. We are dealing with module 13, attackers and their tools. So this is also a very, very important topic. The main objective or the module objective is to explain how networks are attacked. Who is attacking our network? Okay, so very, very important as an analyst to understand these words. A threat, this is a potential danger. An asset is something of value in your organization. Vulnerability, this is a weakness in a system or its design. Once they are combined, they do give us what is known as a risk. Okay, they give us a risk. Now, I've explained about, the attack surface. What is the attack surface? The attack surface is the total sum of vulnerabilities on a system. Okay, we call that the attack surface. An exploit is a tool which is made to exploit the vulnerability. Okay. The risk, this is the likelihood that a particular threat is going to exploit a particular vulnerability of an asset, and that is going to give us undesirable results or consequences. That is the definition of a risk. Likelihood that that threat is going to exploit that vulnerability of an asset, and that is going to give us undesirable results. Okay. Now, risk management is the one which deals with these risks. Okay. So risk management, of course, the process of balancing the operational costs of the measures that are going to put in place, against the protected assets. Okay, so how do we deal with these risks? We can accept the risks. For example, I bought this mouse of mine, let's say at 100 kwacha. You see, the measures I have to protect this mouse cost me 500 kwacha. What am I going to do? I'm going to accept the risks. I can't put up that measure which cost more than the asset. Okay. Risk avoidance, you can avoid the risks. Okay. Let me give an example of a car. I have the house, maybe I don't have the wall fence, then I don't have to buy the car. I avoid the risks of the car being stolen. Or I can reduce the risks by putting up the measures. Yes, quite all right, I'm going to buy the car, but I'm going to build the wall fence. And on that wall fence, I'm going to put the electric, fence. Okay. or I can transfer the risks. What I do is that I can insure the vehicle. Okay, so this is what it is. So very, very important that, as I told you, to know those terms. Once you know those terms, then the topic will be easier for you. Okay, and then the modules, chapter 5 up to 10, make sure that you study that a number of times for you not to fail the module exam, the module group exam. So terms like countermeasure. So these are actions taken to protect assets by mitigating a threat or reducing the risks. Impact, of course, this is the potential damage to the organization caused by the threat. Okay. Hacker versus threat actor. So, you know, the word hacker has a number of definitions. A hacker can be a clever programmer capable of developing new programs and making coding changes to existing programs to make them more efficient. Or he can be a network professional that uses sophisticated programming skills to ensure that networks are not vulnerable to attack. Or it can be an individual who runs programs to prevent or corrupt data on servers. So you see here, the definitions of the hacker gives us two views, you know, an evil view and a good view. That's why in this course, we use the term threat actor. So we have, you know, different types of hackers. The white hat hackers, we call these as ethical hackers. Okay, these are good. The gray hat hackers, they are unethical. What they do is they can hack your institution and without permission, and then later come to your organization and, you know, talk about the weaknesses that they have found. The white hat hackers, they have to get permission from you before they hack. Or, you know, they can be working for your organization. So these are pen testers or ethical hackers. Black hat hacker, these are unethical. You know, they are evil. They are there to make money. Okay? So I've explained about these already. Okay? Evolution of threat actors. So you can see hacking when it started in 1960s through what is known as phone phreaking. This is the manipulation of the frequencies, you know, of a phone so that you can talk for free. Okay. Then you can see in the early 1980s, threat actors realized that by mimicking a tone using a whistle, they could exploit the phone switches to talk free for a long time. Then in the middle 1980s, we had what is known as war dialing programs, where, you know, which dialed each telephone number in a given area in search of computers and so on. Okay, types of threat actors, of course, we looked at this already. Script kiddies, they don't have experience at all. They use the existing tools and exploit on the internet. Okay. Vulnerability brokers, these are also called gray hat hackers, who attempt to discover exploits of vulnerabilities and report to vendors for a reward. Hacktivists, these are people who are protesting against maybe a political or social idea. Cyber criminals, these are black hat hackers. State-sponsored threat actors, these are hackers sponsored by the government. You know, they are there to steal government secrets, gather intelligence, and sabotage. Okay. So of course, cyber criminals, you know, this can be, you know, an individual, or it can be a gang. They are there to make money. Okay. And of course, they steal billions of dollars from people every year. They operate in an underground economy. They're able to buy and sell, you know, intellectual property and information on the dark web. Okay. They don't care. They target anyone, small businesses and, you know, people and large businesses. Okay. Cybersecurity tasks. Very, very important that you set up the cybersecurity tasks. Okay. Your organization must do this. All right. You must have the checklist here. Make sure you deal with software from trustworthy IT vendors. The applications that you are using in your organization. You don't have to use, you know, just any application. Security software must be up to date. And then you do regular penetration testing or ethical hacking. Very, very important that you do this course as well. Pen testing or ethical hacking. Backup is very, very important. That is, you back up the information to the cloud or hard drive. Periodic changes of Wi-Fi password, very, very important. Okay. Since things are changing, also security policy. This is a document which each and every organization must have. Security policy, and it has to be updated. Enforce the use of strong passwords in your organization. A strong password is one with at least 8 characters. Uppercase, lowercase, at least a number, a special character. You see here, 2-factor authentication, very, very important. Not only the use of password, but the use of, you know, SMS, where you receive a code and so on. That is a 2-factor authentication. Why 2-factor authentication? You know, you have something that you know, which can be a password or a PIN. And then maybe something that you have that is biometric, you know, fingerprint and so on. Okay. Or maybe somewhere where you are, that is the location. Okay.
Mr. Teo.
Yes, madam.
Yes, I wanted to ask, a
Yes.
2-factor authentication, like
Yes.
in a workplace.
Yes.
What can it be like? I know ATM, like ATM card.
Yes.
And putting the number.
Yes.
It's a 2-factor authentication, and maybe receiving a call or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know in other examples, like.
Okay, fine. That is what I was saying. Like, let's say on those iPhones, one, you key in the PIN. Next, they would need your fingerprint. It's a 2-factor authentication. Have you seen that? You have got something that you know, which is a PIN, and something that you have. You know? So the first factor is the PIN. The second factor is your fingerprint.
Okay.
Yeah. So
all right.
In certain organizations, when you are entering, you can key in the PIN, and then you'll be requested now, maybe in others, the voice can be used.
Okay. Like you are saying the biometrics, right?
Yes, that is biometric. That is something you have.
Okay, thank you.
Again, the other thing is which can be used, the other factor which can be used is how you are. That is the rate at which you key in the password can also be a factor. How you key in the password can also be a factor. Okay. All right. I think we are going to end here. We have covered a lot today. We are going to end here for today. We are going to continue from here tomorrow. Okay, do we have questions? Please keep on writing the chapter exams. Okay.
Now, like for me, Mr. Teo,
Yes?
me, I haven't even started. So I have to start from module 1?
Yes, madam. You... Yes, anyway, yeah. So when you get less than 75, you just have to SMS me so that I do reactivate for you. All right.
Okay, no, I'll start. I think I'll be following the links in the books, but I'm still having challenge to log in my account. I'll try tomorrow once more. If I fail, I'll let you know.
Then you pass by my office.
I think so. When I have time, I think I'll just drop by.
Okay, fine, fine. And you pass by my office, I do it for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate that you have attended, all of you. Thank you very much. Good night. I'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.
Good night.
All right. Good night. Good night.